I'm pressed.
Yes. We're just gonna ask some questions just about yourself now.
Okay.
Okay. How long have you lived in Moweaqua?
87 years.
Oh my word.
All right.
Then were you born here?
Yes.
Yep. Were you born in the hospital here or?
Actually, I was born in the hospital, but it wasn't a hospital then. It was a private residence. It was our home.
Oh really?
Yeah.
And what do you like to do now?
Eat and watch television.
I completely agree. Mrs. Moore, do you have anything to say?
Got a good appetite.
What's your favorite food?
Oh, I like about everything, actually. I like tacos, and
Oh, I like tacos. Yeah.
chicken and noodles.
Oh, yeah, I just had that twice this week.
Didn't you?
Oh yeah, that's what made me hungry for him. Because I called up Mom today and I said, get the chicken out of the freezer. I'm going to make chicken and noodles for supper. And that's why, because you told me you had them this week. And
had
I
it
just
twice.
realized that's why they sounded
Yeah. And did you attend school here in Moweaqua?
Yes.
Yep. And how many kids do you have?
I had 5 children,
Mm-hmm.
4 living.
And back then, in just your teenage years, what did you like to do for fun? Oh geez, the list.
I lived 3 blocks from downtown, and we'd go downtown, especially on Saturday night, walk the streets.
Did you like to...
And I wasn't a street walker.
Did you like to go to the movie theater?
Yeah.
Yeah. What movies played? Do you remember any?
When I was young, a teenager,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I don't know, probably Tom Mix and I don't remember, you know,
Mm-hmm.
just real
Fine.
old movies way back in 1920 and 30.
And where did your family come from?
Originally, a long
Yeah.
time ago.
Yeah.
I guess from around here.
I think she means like from Europe.
Both, it doesn't matter.
I don't know.
Well, Pennsylvania.
What?
Right? They
Yeah,
came over to Pennsylvania, then they migrated out
Yeah.
here.
Go ahead, Molly.
Is that your hat?
Yes. No.
Okay, what did your parents do for a living?
We had a farm. My dad farmed, and then about the time I was born, he worked.
He was a troubleshooter for the land bank.
Yes, thank you. Land Bank,
Federal
Land
Land
Bank
Bank.
of St. Louis.
What is that?
What is that? It's a bank that loaned money to farmers mostly,
Mm-hmm.
and that's all.
So, did he farm like somebody else's land, or did you own your own farm?
Uh-huh.
They
Yes.
owned their own farm.
We inherited it.
So, like, did you originally live in town and then you like moved outside of town?
No,
Oh,
I
The other way
lived-
around.
What?
The other way around, wasn't it? You lived on the farm and then you moved in town.
I was born in town, and then in the spring, we went out in the country, and then in the fall we came back in town. Then I never did live on the farm after that. My brother and his wife farmed it.
during the fall, or like
Depression. Sorry.
After that, they took over.
Yeah.
Her brothers were older than she was.
What work was available here during the Depression?
What?
What work was available here?
Oh, not much actually. We had everybody, lots of were farmers and then shopkeepers.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like know the number of did a lot of people have like vehicles? Did you guys have a vehicle?
Oh yeah.
A lot of people.
We always had a car.
Did your father-in-law's family have a car?
My what?
Your father-in-law?
My father-in-law.
Ibra.
What about him?
Did they have a car?
Yeah, after I knew them, they did, I suppose.
What did you work when you were growing up? Like when you got into older teen years, did you work?
Yeah,
Where'd you work?
let me see.
It's okay.
I'm trying to think of what year. I worked at Caterpillar
Well,
Military Engine.
After high school, though, you went to college 2 years.
Oh, yeah,
And then after that, you worked for Caterpillar. So
Yeah.
you were like 20 or 21 when you worked
yeah.
for Caterpillar.
Yeah.
Okay. I think she meant during your high school years.
Where'd you go to college at?
Beg your pardon?
Where'd you go to college at?
Moweaqua College at Jacksonville. It was just a women's college then, you know. It's co-ed now, but
She went 2 years and then her dad died, and so she had to come home because they didn't have programs then, you know, like
To help
to,
mothers.
yeah,
Mhm.
yes.
So how old were you when the mine disaster happened?
12.
How long did your father-in-law work in the mine?
How did you know he worked in the mine?
Well, they gave him some background, Mother.
Oh,
That's one reason they're interviewing you.
Yeah.
how, not say that again.
How long did Grandpa Ibra work in the mine?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. Donna, do you know?
No, that's something that they might know up at the museum.
Mm-hmm.
But I really don't know. If, you know, if Daddy was here, he could tell us.
Well, he was an electrician, so he was one of 2 men that wasn't killed in the mine disaster.
So he was towards the top of the mine,
Yeah,
and you said he
I
was.
think he was running what they call the cage
Mm-hmm.
that goes down. I don't know. Kyle could have told you more about that.
I know, I told him they're just a little bit late. If Daddy was here, he could
Yeah,
give him more information.
yeah.
Did you know like the daily routine of a miner? Like what they had to do when they got up and like what they used for tools and stuff?
No, you ought to ask Pam more. That she knows.
What was your home life back then? Like during the Depression, like after the mine disaster, how'd like affect your home and the town and stuff?
Not too much really. Mine disaster didn't, because and we didn't have anybody that worked in the mine, but my husband's dad worked in the mine.
Do you know how that affected his family?
What did Grandpa do after the mine closed? Do you know, Mom?
Oh, I suppose mostly carpenter work, electrician, and
He had other skills that he could
yeah.
use.
Did after the mine, I know the mine eventually reopened like after a year or so.
Mhm.
Did he go back to work there?
No, I don't think so. I didn't think they ever reopened it.
They did a couple years later,
But it wasn't
just for a
successful.
few, just for a
Yeah.
few years it
Okay,
opened,
I
it
didn't
reopened,
realize.
then it closed for good a few years later.
So whenever the mine wasn't open, like during the months that it wasn't running during the year, do you know what people did for a job?
Oh, when they couldn't work at the
Mhm.
mine? No, not really.
I mean, just they pretty much had to go somewhere else and find work.
Yeah, if they were lucky to be alive. Yeah. There weren't, I don't know.
Well, I think she means the ones that during the winter months, if
Yeah.
the months during the year when the mine wasn't open because it didn't work, it wasn't open 12 months a year.
I don't know.
That's all right. Okay. What did your father-in-law? Do you know how his family responded to the disaster?
Oh, I do know a story about that. Margaret, Kyle's sister,
Mm-hmm.
they lived over here on Putman Street, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the people that worked in the mine didn't have a phone, and he lived like across the alley from Goldie and Ivory, and they called, and they wanted this man to come to work that morning, December 23rd, and so Margaret went over and told him that they wanted him to come to work. And he was killed in the mine disaster. She always told that story.
Do you know any of the families otherwise that had people lost in the mine?
Oh yeah, like the Corbys
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know.
Potsix,
Who?
Potsix,
Yeah.
Turpax.
Finn Pulaski and Grandpa were the only two survivors.
Mm-hmm. Do you know how that ever left them feeling, knowing that they were the only survivors?
How it made them feel?
Mm-hmm.
No, not really.
Besides just lucky.
Yeah.
Did Grandpa ever talk about it, Mom?
I don't, he never said anything to me.
Yeah, I never remember him talking about
I don't
it.
remember either.
Yeah, I don't remember him talking.
Do you know if he was hospitalized from just the disaster itself?
No. I
Did he
don't-
help with the recovery of bodies, Mom?
I'm sure they were down there working, but
Mm-hmm.
He never talked about that either?
no,
That'd be pretty gruesome.
yeah.
Pretty hard.
Oh, it was terrible when they brought the bodies out. They rescued them. They were all dead.
What was your first reaction whenever you yourself heard the bell?
Oh, I didn't realize how bad it was. I don't
Mhm.
think anybody did.
Well, you're only 12, too.
Yeah, but I remember going down there and standing around. But
Pretty much the whole town was down there, weren't they,
Yeah.
Mom?
yeah,
Standing around waiting. I remember Daddy saying that he was at home with Grandma, and I don't know if they lived in Orville Adams's house or in the Campbell house, but Grandma Goldie felt the explosion.
oh, she did.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I
She
didn't-
could feel it, and when she felt
In
the
the ground?
explosion, she sent Dad down, and he said he ran, clear to the opposite end of town
Yeah.
to make sure Grandpa was okay. She sent him down there.
No,
And then he ran clear home. Yeah, I remember Daddy telling me that story. But that's the only story he ever told me.
yeah, I didn't know that.
Guess she needs chocolate.
Do we need to take a break?
Chocolate break! But apparently, we could feel the explosion, the ground rumbled.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's amazing, isn't it?
yeah.
And she knew what it was.
Yeah.
Grandma
That's
knew
amazing
some of
to me
that.
also.
Oh, darn, I didn't know that.
Uh-huh.
Do you know where you were whenever it happened?
Probably in bed. It was I don't know whether it was school day or not, I suppose it was.
It
Because
was
the 24th
early.
would be Christmas Eve.
Uh-huh.
Was it in the morning?
Oh, yeah,
Was that
first
like-
thing in the morning.
Yes.
First
Like
thing?
they
8
just
o'clock.
started, they'd sent a bunch of men down and it happened right after they got down in the mine.
Do you know how that affected Christmas in the town?
Oh, boy, it did. It was terrible.
Did
what-
you still celebrate Christmas?
I think we did,
Mhm.
Of course, everybody was saddened
Yeah.
terribly. And Finn Pulaski, wasn't he supposed to be Santa Claus?
No, it wasn't Finn.
Who
Was it Esmeraldo?
No, I don't think so.
It says in one of those
It's-
articles.
I have it in my notes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
The one, he died, the town of Santa Claus died.
Yeah.
The guy who always played
Yeah,
Santa Claus.
that's right. Wasn't Finn, huh?
No.
I can't remember.
And how soon did people really come to help at the mine? Like after the
Right
disaster?
away.
Right away.
Yeah, it spread, the news spread
Mhm.
fast. And they had a lot of people come from out of town, undertakers and people like that.
But we've been told that only helpers from Clinton area and not people from Moweaqua were
Oh.
able to help.
Why?
And just
It was too awful
Yeah.
for them.
Sent workers to help, like from Springfield.
Oh, you mean miners?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know.
Well,
The
just
mining company
Like-
sent,
Oh,
People to help
Rescue
clean up and
teams
stuff.
from other areas.
well, they, you know, they, every time they go down and bring up another body,
Mm-hmm.
my family wasn't affected as, nearly as much as a lot of.
Mm-hmm.
chocolate stat.
Yeah, there's the chocolates.
She keeps them handy.
Do you know if any like local businesses?
Oh, we take it. It's dark chocolate. You like dark chocolate?
Thank you. Where's
Maybe,
yours?
maybe.
She can't talk and
If you want, we can stop.
See,
Do you know if any local businesses helped out the families that lost loved ones?
you mean financially?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You know, the miners were all insured, and
Mm-hmm.
the families all got money and stuff. Money, and I know this one boy was in my class, and his dad and brother, I think, were both killed in it, and before it happened, you know, he just had not very nice clothes. And after that, why, when he came back to school, he had all new clothes and everything.
So they obviously got
Yeah.
help
settlement.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They had insurance, and the miners did,
Does anyone know, did that come from just the mine company or
I suppose.
I think
Money?
so.
Or maybe
according to what
the
I've
government?
read. I think according to what I read, it was the mine
Mhm.
company,
Yeah, I think so.
gave us settlement to all the families of the miners.
And after the disaster, did it really affect anything happening in the town besides Christmas, but otherwise?
Like the businesses.
Did they what?
Did it affect businesses and stuff?
Oh, I'm sure it did, but I don't know, really.
Did you feel any difference after it happened?
Well,
Really?
I was more aware of the mind. Not really. But my dad, you know, he didn't work for the mine or anything,
Mhm.
so I went,
Were you thankful whenever?
yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Her turn?
Yeah. Let's take turns.
Oh yeah.
I'm kind of skipping around. Do you know just any other stories that you've been told?
No.
Just about any businesses or any unique things?
Do
Not
you
really.
like remember any stories? Like after you and your husband got married, did your father-in-law tell you
No.
any stories?
No, he never discussed it.
Yeah.
Grandpa Aubrey
Kind of
did,
personal.
Was it almost a feeling of, just personal?
yeah.
That's understandable. I don't think we have any more questions.
Is that it?
Unless there's anything else you want to tell us.
Well, yeah, I got a story. My brother was 4 years older than I,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, he was allowed to roam all over town.
Yeah.
More than I was. I wasn't allowed to go very far, and so we had a cow. We had a barn, and we had a cow,
Mm-hmm.
and Mom had milked the cow. Evidently, I didn't remember, and you know, we used to get syrup in little gallon buckets, and when they were tin with a lid,
Mhm.
you know, and a bale, and people bought milk from us, and even though we lived in town, we still had a cow, and Gail would get on his tricycle, and he'd put one bucket on one handle and one bucket on, and he'd go 2 or 3 blocks, you know, and deliver milk. The
On a
milk.
tricycle?
Yes.
How old was he?
That was raw milk too, you know. I mean, it wasn't pasteurized.
How old was he?
How old was he?
Well, yeah.
Well, he was 4 at least. I don't know.
Oh,
Where'd you guys keep your cow in town?
In a barn.
In the barn?
In those days, you know, there weren't as many houses, there were fewer houses, and people had a barn behind their house.
We didn't have a garage, we had a barn.
A lot of people did.
How big were the houses then?
Oh, that,
It's still standing.
About like
where
they are
we
now.
lived,
Oh,
yeah.
so they are?
yeah.
It's, are you talking about the one on Putnam and Main?
Who, me?
Yeah,
Oh,
where your
Yeah.
barn was.
that's the
Where,
house I was,
Shelley and Brad
Say.
Davis lived.
Yeah. That's the only house in town still with a barn, isn't it?
it doesn't have a
barn
barn, it's got a garage. Everybody used to have a barn on their property.
Wiseman's lived there, Mr. Cutty Corn for Mr. Funneman. That's where
Okay.
Mom grew up when she lived in town.
That big house on the corner?
Yeah, yeah, they
Big
just
house.
resided it and put a porch back on it again, and there's a barn back there. That was a while back though. That was a couple years ago, wasn't it, Gwen?
Yeah. And then I was thinking about the 4th of July, because, you know, there weren't any restrictions. You could get any of the firecrackers that you wanted. And so Gail and I, we'd have a big 4th of July boy, and Mom would make us go out in the yard and pick up all the firecrackers. I remember that.
Gil was kind of a daredevil. He was kind of a pistol.
Was Gil your brother?
Gail Stewart.
Yeah, he was a pistol.
Well, he passed it on to Mrs. Morley.
Yeah, maybe that's right. Yeah,
That's right.
sure. I remember Uncle Gil telling me they built a tennis court out in the country,
Yeah.
and they go out and play tennis, you know, and
Did you ever play sports in high school or anything?
Basketball.
Basketball?
It's just girls, you know. I mean,
Gwen used to be pretty tall. She started shrinking, you know, when you get to a certain age, you start shrinking. But you were probably 5'9", weren't you, or something?
I
Wow.
don't know, Donna.
She was pretty tall in her younger days.
If you don't mind me asking, what year did you graduate?
From high school,
Mhm.
38.
38?
Well, I'll show you a picture of school tomorrow during study hall. Is that all right, Gwenny?
Sure.
She's 87 now.
Whatever.
It's okay.
Yeah, I said I wish that, you know, you'd done this earlier, before,
Danny died.
yeah.
'Cause he had a lot of, a lot of stories.
Yeah,
And he had a good memory too. He remembered everything.
Yeah,
It's, getting him to talk about it was something else, but
yeah.
is that, and used to, the World War II veterans wouldn't talk about a whole lot, but
Yeah.
he did tell me some World War II stories, mostly about the trip home on a ship.
Oh, yeah.
But,
My grandpa was in World War II.
Your grandpa was? Is he still alive? No. See, that's the thing.
Yeah.
I meant to get more stories out of him and put them
Yeah.
down on paper or something
Yeah.
so I could remember them, and they're slipping away from us and we're losing all that.
When he came home from Europe, and the ship he was on came in, to New York, and you see the Statue of Liberty and everything, and right at that time something happened. I don't know whether the war in Europe was stopped or what, but there's so many of them that they didn't let off the boat, and he had to go down through the Panama Canal and to the Philippines.
To the Pacific, because the war wasn't over in the Pacific yet. But then by the time he got over there, it was.
Well,
And he said he was on a ship that was built to hold 5,000 men, and there were 10,000 men on it.
So he was taken in the draft?
yeah.
Well, he went over and enlisted
Mm-hmm.
when he was, how old was he, Mama?
How old was he?
21.
Donna, that was before
Well, I know, it was before you were married. He was born in 21, and he was probably 19 or 20. And he went over to Shelbyville to register, and then they just took him right then. He couldn't even come home and tell his mother goodbye.
Yeah.
They took him right then.
He didn't think they'd take him because he had a little deafness in one ear. And they wouldn't take him in the Navy. He wanted to enlist in the Navy because his dad had been in the Navy.
In World War One.
World War, yeah.
The Navy didn't take him, but the Army did.
Yeah, boy, he didn't even get to go home.
So after Ibra, you said,
Mhm.
was in the Navy, did he then come back and work for the mine?
Yeah,
After
so
that?
that was when that was World War One from,
Yeah.
Mhm.
14 to 18 or 17 or whatever it was.
After that?
Because he was
didn't
born
work
in
for it.
1885, so.
Do
and
you
he was-
know how long he did work there? Or,
At
the
the
mine?
mine?
mm-hmm.
Mine? I don't know.
I don't have any idea.
I don't
Like I
know.
said, they might know at the mine, they can check the
Mhm.
records at the
Yeah,
mine, or maybe
that's fine.
Pam remembers. I
She
mean,
might
not
have
because
it
she was
written
there, but
somewhere.
because she knows the records.
Yeah.
I don't remember how long he worked there.
That's
And,
fine.
I mean, Daddy never said that I know of,
Yeah.
or if he did, I missed it. I've forgotten.
Who, your dad?
Yeah, if I ever heard Daddy say how long Grandpa worked there.
Oh, okay.
Well, is there anything else?
Let's see. I don't think so.
Okay.
Let me hit the button.
Yes, ma'am.